tomorrow was tip-off for the NCAA tournament, and I think when people wake up on Thursday, I mean, everything's been crazy anyways, but really going to hit home, or has it already hit home for you that?
You know, it's strange. I mean, Saturday morning I got up and said, oh God, I should be preparing hopefully for a game. Sunday it felt the same way, and I think now the days have run so much together, I don't even know what day it is, you know, when you don't have, can't even go to church, can't even do this. So how do you differentiate the days? You know, work days for basketball coaches are 7 days a week, so you don't differentiate that way. But everybody's got the same issues, and you know, I think we're all doing what we think is best. I agree with, I think our government, everybody's on the same page for once, where we're realizing that no matter what school you're from, no matter what color you are, doesn't matter what religion you are, it affects everybody. And so maybe in some ways it'll bring us all closer together.
Have you been finding yourself doing things during this time of year you may not have had time for in the past?
Yeah, you know, I've been I spent Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and now today just clean my office closet, clean my home closet, clean my home office, and got half the garage done. I'm gonna get the other half done this afternoon.
Take me back through those final interviews maybe with some of the guys. I know you did your exit interviews a lot earlier than expected. How tough were those? Was it a lot of, when you reflect back on them, do you feel like you left them the best way you could, especially your seniors?
You know, I could say yes, but I'd probably say no, because it all happened so quick. You know, we were here practicing, getting ready to leave, done with practice at noon, leave at 1 for Indy. I'm going to watch the Michigan Rutgers game, and 10 minutes before practice ended, they came in and told us it was canceled. And so you had to tell your team that. And then they went home, and then I get word that it looks like the NCAA was going to be canceled. So I got my players back right away so that I could tell them in person if it was going to happen, not that they have to hear it on the social media, my favorite thing in the world. But I did get them back here at 4:30. At 4:20 is when we kind of found out for sure. That was a hard conversation. With the team, it was really hard. With this 3 or 4 seniors, it was really, really hard. And with Cassius, it was exponentially hard. It was just one of those things that I thought he was starting to come around the last month through a difficult situation. I thought our team was starting to really play their best basketball. I'd been there before over the years, and it had a familiar feel to it. And then all of a sudden it was all cut short. So what do? You do what everybody does. You feel sorry for yourself, you still feel sorry for your seniors. And then you sit back and you realize this is way bigger than sports. And reality starts setting in, and you at least learn to deal with it. But after I met with my team, I met with my 4 seniors that same afternoon, and then I met with Cassius individually, and tear-jerking, you know, it was hard. I mean, everybody, you know, when you go through college, it's so difficult, and to play at this level and to play the teams we play and for championships, I mean, there's not a lot of rooms for pats on the back, you know, until it's over. And all of a sudden it ended that way, and, you know, I felt like hugging, kissing him, and I think he felt like pretty good about me, you know, like players do until they get away a couple of years. But that was probably the toughest day I've had in a long, long time.
Everybody is going through this. Have you talked to other coaches? Have you had the equally maybe silent, what do I even say with other guys in the profession?
Yeah, I think even when I talk to media people, you know, like you want to talk about your team, and then you realize it's so mundane. I mean, it's so small compared to the big problem that we're dealing with right now. So I just say the same thing, you know, wash your hands, you know, keep your distance, a lot of elbow bumps, and those things sound so ridiculous, but they're very, very valuable right now. And I try to tell our players that, because the problem with players is when you're young, especially that 15 to 25, you think you're invincible, you know, that nothing's going to bother you. So I'll call somebody and they'll say, well, I'm going to go down and work out at the park. And no, you're not, and they don't take it as serious. So I've had to do a lot of that in the meantime. And with other coaches, we all start out with, oh man, I can't believe we're going to miss the tournament. I talked to John Calipari today, and he's in Florida talking about it. And then we get the reality of it is that's still small compared to people losing their lives or some of the things that are going on.
That being said, which is absolutely correct. I'm not trying to minimize that, but as I think we're starting to realize like how much of an impact it had in our society. And I mean, it is I don't want to say it's as equally important as like the stock market, because that obviously runs things, but I mean, people are literally watching marble races online because they're looking for some sort of competition, and that void in the everyday American's life of watching sports is, I mean, what do you say to people that are looking for something to grasp onto at this time? Because there's just,
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And so we'll get off make sure nobody takes us both wrong,
right.
That we know there's things more important. But if you look at from a financial aspect, but if you look at from a day-to-day get up, my mother's turning 94 in a month. And she calls me and says, I have nothing to do. I've watched basketball for most of my life because I've been involved. I got her great-grandchild is an assistant at Clemson. And so she's watching ACC, she's watching this. It takes up her day. It gives her, I don't want to say it dramatically, it gives her something to live for. It gives her something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And I do think we're going to realize that sports is sports, but it is more important than we think when you talk about the day-to-day activities and also the financial implications that something like the NCAA Tournament is going to place on our country.
What about the sport? I mean, have you thought about missing this tournament? I mean, that funds the NCAA, all sports across the board for that's its yearly, big fundraiser, if you will. I mean, have you thought about the future of the NCAA because of this type of thing? How will this maybe change how things are done? Is that something that you've been able
Well,
to...
I haven't wrapped my arms around that. I've got enough hats I wore this year. I mean, I wore a lot of hats this year because of things we went through. And so I haven't worn my NCAA hat yet. I'm sure I'll get to that since I'm on a lot of the committees.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of us know on any of these things right now. I mean, what are these universities going to do? The financial losses there. If not the big schools, think of the smaller schools. How long is this going to last? We're too early in the process to start figuring out what's going to happen. That'll be for smarter minds than mine. I just want to keep my family, my players, and everybody I know healthy and working towards what'll be a rebuilding process, I'm sure.
At the core of a coach is a teacher, as a mentor, as someone who helps people learn from things. What is the biggest thing you're helping your kids learn from this?
Well, I said it that day in the meeting I had, when I talk all the time about seniors because I asked my guys, I had a couple that are 50-year seniors, Kyle Arns and Connor George, and then Cassius. And, as much as you had to go through and all the tough times and all the early meetings and late meetings and go by fast. And they all answer yes. And when I talked to them the other day, I said, we have a tendency to say, well, I can get this done tomorrow. We procrastinate, we put off. Or, you know what, it wasn't our year this year, but next year. Right. Yeah, but Cash won't be here next year. Or, Gary Harris won't be here next year. There's always underclassmen. Right. Denzel won't be here next year. And I just told them that, we've pushed the pause button. And what you can do is take care of things that you haven't been able to do because your world works so fast. Right now, it's slowed down for all of us, you and me both. And that pause button, you should maybe appreciate a little bit more that why put off tomorrow what you could do today? And that was my teaching lesson. Don't look forward because you never know what'll happen. Josh Langford was looking forward to his senior year, injury takes care of his senior year. We were all looking forward to the NCAA tournament. A tragedy happens, something goes wrong, and all of a sudden you don't have an NCAA tournament, you know. You better grasp it while it's in front of you and do the best you can do with that, and quit thinking about what could be, start dealing with what is. And that was my message to my team as the teacher, as the parent, as the coach. And really, I think I was talking to myself in there too. So what did I do? Clean my garage. I haven't been able to do that in 5 years. You know, I cleaned my office, I cleaned my closet, and now I'm going to sit down and really try each day to say, how can I become a better coach? How can I do this better? What different things can we do? Not many times in your life is there a pause button hit. You know, even with the tragedy of 9/11, it was something to wake you up, but the world didn't stop. I mean, now the world has slowed down. We're not allowed to be at work. We're not allowed to do this and that. It's a real pause button, and hopefully all of us will become better for this tough time we're going through.
Did you find anything good in the garage?
You know, I did find, I found a lot better stuff in my drawers. You know, I realized, or my closet, I think I had to get rid of some of those JJ from Good Time shirts that I had. I had to get rid of those, you know, haven't done some of that stuff. So we'll try to do a better job, you know, of keeping more up to date, you know. I told my wife, the good news is, you know, the fat ties that became skinny ties, that became, I got combinations of both, so I'm set for.
Don't buy me any more ties.
What the style is, I'm covered.
When the retrofit does come back, which it eventually will, I do want one more just real quick on talking to Lamonte Stone at River Rouge, and they were primed for a big off-season, big post-tournament run, as was Orchard Lake St. Mary's, because I got killed for saying that River Rouge was going to win it. The opportunity taken, opportunity lost, the chance, as we kind of talked about when you sit in here, your team, every team that isn't playing, is that what maybe is the biggest sports-only disappointment for this whole thing? Yeah, sports only. What I don't think people realize is, I'm talking to NBA teams right now about some of my guys, and I'm looking at all of us, and the NBA puts a lot in the NCAA tournament because they get to watch kids at a high platform, very important time of year. How do people react under pressure? College coaches watch high school coaches. During the state tournament, one and done means everything's on the line. Is that kid giving his all? Is he casual? Is he this? Is he that? I mean, I hate to say it, sports only. Let's make sure we continue to not insult anybody, but sports only. It's going to cost some kids scholarships. It could cost some college guys NBA careers. This is going to have an impact on a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and that too is why don't save it for the end. Every day you're doing something, give it your best shot so you're impressing somebody, because you don't know, especially this day and age. I say this, and I say it to my financial guys, times have always changed every 10, 15, 20 years. You talk about your parents, you talk about, but when planes are running into buildings, when something can stop the entire world like this, we're in some times that we all better take a little self-check and figure out what it's all about. And I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to try to do it with my players, my family, and I think that's what we all should try to do.